The Season 5 update just dropped, so I got y'all with the new best settings for Warzone, multiplayer, and zombies. Which, to credit myself, I do have a 4 KD. My highest kill streak is 157. It does say my highest kills in the game is 456. That is definitely bugged. I don't know why it says that. I'm also iridescent in multiplayer rank play, and it is my job to be good at the game and to play the game, so rest assured you're going to get the best settings. Now, we're going to be going over the controller settings first. I do use an Xbox Elite's V2 controller. It just basically puts these front buttons on the back. Well, I guess I can map any button to these back ones, and I like to have the front ones on the back, allowing me to drop shot and jump shot and swap weapons without really having to use my thumb. Previously, I would play claw, so then I would use my pointer finger to hit the jump and the crouch button, and that's not too bad, but I'm more comfortable with the paddles. If you don't want to play claw and you don't want to play bumper and you still want to bring your skill to the next level, then I would go over to the edit button layout and I would swap over to tactical or bumper jumper tactical. Tactical makes it so you can drop shot while still having good aim. Bumper jumper tactical allows you to do that, plus you can jump while still having good aim, since you're not going to have to use, you know, the A or the X and circle and B button. And so next, settings for the bumper ping. I have mine on off. This is personal preference. I would flip the bumpers with the triggers if you have a regular default controller. This one has a trigger lock, so the second I pull down the trigger, it's going to make it so my gun fires. If I have a regular controller, I'll have to pull all the way down, which takes a lot of time, so it's just not as responsive as a button, and this will make it so it's a button now. Stick layout preset default. Controller vibration, I would keep this on off. I used to always play with it on, and the game just felt so weird when it was on off. But if you think about it, the less things vibrating in your hand is going to lead to a more steady shot, and there's a reason why all the professional players play with this off, and all the other good players might be weird for like a week or 2 weeks, but once you're used to it, it's so helpful. Dead zone inputs, this is super important. A lot of people have this messed up. The left stick mid, I have mine on 1. This is going to make it so my guy doesn't like move forward by himself. If I have it on 0, I have a little bit of stick drift, so my guy will walk forward slowly. That's going to eliminate that. Everyone should be fine with 1. Left stick max, you want to keep this between 40 and 75. If you have it on 100, that means if when you move that left stick, your movement 1, it's going to go from 0 to 100 till you get to that max movement speed. Now, if I just move it like 40%, I'm going to get to max movement speed. If you have it too low, you'll kind of mess up your movement a little bit, and so that's why I recommend trying between 40 and 75. I used to always play on 65 until now. I got pretty good with the 40, and I can just move around the map, or it feels like you have a better reaction time, basically. Right stick max, I have mine on 5. If I have it on anything less, my controller, like my aim is going to start drifting like crazy a little bit. If I have it at more than that, I feel like it's not as responsive and I start missing shots because this feels way too delayed. So even if I have crazy stick drift, I'll still keep it on 5. A pro player, Celium, he actually plays it with 10, which is kind of crazy. Most pro players stick around 5. New controllers, I'll be at like 3. If I'm on 1, it makes it feel like I'm overcompensating on recoil control, and so even if I have a brand new controller, I'll keep it on 3, typically always at 5. Right stick max 99. Left trigger, right trigger, obviously you want those on 0 so it fires instantly. Now let's go over to the to the aiming settings. Sensitivity, you can get used to any sensitivity, so don't overthink your sensitivity. A lot of players will be just stuck in the loop of just sensitivity changes like multiple times throughout the match or every other game or every other day. Just find a sensitivity that you like and use that one, because I can get really used to 20 and do good. The reason I have it on 6 is for my centering. That white down the center of your screen, you need to make sure that is where an enemy could be at all times, so then all you have to do is ADS and fire. You don't have to like ADS and drag over, just ADS and fire. So if you have a very high sensitivity, your centering is going to be very difficult to be consistent with it, especially when you're playing rank play and things like that. So I keep it on 6.6. Most pro players will have it on 6.6. The lowest I've seen really any good player use is about 4. The highest I'll see is 10. You'll never see a pro player past 7, so that kind of tells you something. I like 6. I can get used to anything else though. ADS sensitivity multiplier, I like 0.9. Some people like 0.85. If you want to find a good one, I would go into a private match. If you have the full game multiplayer, go in there and play against some bots for like 20 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day. That's how like all the pro players and just most good players warm up before they start playing. Just go in there, shoot some bots, and just find a sensitivity that you feel pretty consistent with. Again, don't really overthink it. Stick between 0.85 and 1.0. Sensitivity multiplier, you don't really need to mess with that unless you want personal preference. Vertical aim axis doesn't matter. Tactical stance sensitivity doesn't matter. Aim response curve type, make sure this is on dynamic. You will see a few good players run in standard, but 99% of the players got dynamic. This is just going to make it so if there's 2 targets on your screen, it's easier to snap from one target to the other target, and this is just what everyone's been rocking in every Call of Duty. It just makes it a lot easier. Now ADS sensitivity multiplier 1.0. ADS sensitivity transition timing instant. Custom some sensitivity per zoom off. Target aim assist obviously on. It is nice to go into a private match, shoot some bots without aim assist, and then turn it on like 10 minutes in, and you'll notice your aim is a lot better, especially your centering. Aim assist type defaults. A couple pro players play with Black Ops. Sniping is really good with focusing, but then if you run a ray gun, it's really awkward. So I would stick between default and Black Ops. Most players have default, but a lot of pro players have Black Ops. Third person ADS correction type assist, motion sensor behavior off, and yeah, this stuff doesn't really matter. Let's go over to the gameplay settings. Automatic sprint. You'll see a lot of Warzone players with the automatic tactical sprint, just because the sprint to fire speed doesn't matter as much in Warzone. You kind of want to move around the map a little bit quicker, and it is sometimes easier to have good movement. If you're playing multiplayer, I notice it's a lot better to have automatic sprint on, because if you're running at someone, or if you run around a doorway and there's an enemy running around the doorway on the opposite end, he's tac sprinting, you're not tac sprinting, you're going to be able to fire your gun off first, therefore you should be able to kill the enemy. And I kill a lot of players who are tac sprinting just because they can't like bring down their gun fast enough, and so I do a lot better with this. Was a little bit weird at first to learn, but once I learned it, so much better. I even like it in Warzone. I drop a lot of 40 bombs and things like that. Subscribe to the second channel, Cbass 2.0. Slide maintain sprint, you have to have this on. If it's on off, the game feels super clunky. Okay, go into a match or go into the firing range with this off, and then go back in there with it on, you'll notice a drastic difference. It's so much more smooth. Sprint slash tactical sprint behavior toggle, auto move forward off, tactical sprint behavior single tap run, grounded mantle, airborne mantle, and ground mantle slash hang. All these on off, it makes it so you don't accidentally mantle on things. It is super helpful. Slide slash dive behavior. I need to learn the hybrid. This is better. If you're not using the hybrid, use the slide only. The hybrid is going to make it so you can still dolphin dive without having a delay in your slide. If you have it on like slide only or tap to slide, then the game doesn't know if you're going to be holding the dolphin dive or tapping. If you have it on slide only, it knows the only reason you're clicking that button is to slide, so you'll instantly slide. With these ones, you'll have a little bit of a delay. This one is going to eliminate the delay, but you can't dolphin dive. With the hybrid, you can now dolphin dive by holding your left stick and hitting the slide button, and then I think that's how it's going to be in Black Ops 6 for the Omni movement. So then if you want to dolphin dive backwards or left or right, they're probably going to have a hybrid setting that you're going to want to learn. I do need to master that ASAP. Plunging underwater free, parachute automatic behavior off, sprinting door bash on, ledge climb behavior mantle only, ADS sight behavior hold, change zoom activation, sprint, you guys can copy all that, equipment behavior hold, weapon mount activation, ADS plus melee, weapon mount exit delay off, tactical stance activation, ADS plus down button, tactical stance behavior on toggle, interact slash reload behavior. Prioritize interact is so helpful. If you're in like a hectic zone, your gun runs out of ammo, you need to pick up a gun. All right, no, yeah, your gun runs out of ammo. It is faster to pick up a gun off the floor rather than reloading. So I have prioritized interact, so then if there's a gun next to me, I can just click my reload button and my guy will pick up a gun, and then hopefully it has ammo, and then if not, I can reload. But I don't really waste any time doing that. If I have it on tap to reload, then I have to like hold the pick up things, and it just makes looting in Warzone slower. And if I want to, pick up a gun off the floor real quick, it's gonna take a little bit longer. I don't mind having to hold to reload, because if I'm reloading, I'm already in a safe position, so I don't mind waiting, holding that reload button. Armor plate behavior, apply all, ADS stick swap off, backpack control directional buttons, depleted ammo weapon switch on, quick C4 detonation grouped, manual fire behavior press. A lot of this stuff is personal preference. It doesn't really change anything, doesn't make or break the game. Akimbo behavior independent, vehicle camera recenter off, camera initial position free look, lean out activation melee, scoreboard map stats behavior toggle, ping wheel delay off, double tap dancer danger, danger. This is off. I can't say basic words. Wheel behavior hold. If you guys do enjoy the video, if it is helpful, make sure you hit the like button down below and subscribe if you want to get better at Black Ops 6. Pre-order the best class setup. Display mode, if you have it on full screen exclusive, you'll eliminate all your input delay. This is just for PC. Super helpful. I just stream a lot, so I need to use my other monitor, stop by the stream sometime, and so it just makes it a little bit easier. But if I'm in a rank setting, I need to win, or if I'm doing bad, I'll swap over to full screen exclusive. Display monitor, yeah, this stuff doesn't matter. I got the 4090 in there. Things like a car engine in the PC, and you guys should be able to copy all this stuff down. Now, over to the quality, I have it on custom, obviously. Render resolution, you don't need to have it on anything less than 100 or anything above 100. This is going to make it so the game is so much easier to actually spot players. Even with this maxed out, it's still hard for me to spot players, but it's a lot easier than it was before. So make sure you have it on fidelity. Try everything between like 50 and 100. Go into a game, see what you like. For me, I really like 100, and same with a lot of other players. Path tracings plus ray reconstruction off. VRAM scale target. I have mine on 80 because I'm streaming and things like that. If you're not, then you can just keep it on 90. Variable rate shading. This will make some people's PCs crash. So if your game's crashing a lot, you can turn that on. For me, the game runs better with it on off. Texture resolution, I have mine on high. It's a little bit easier to see the players. If I have an average PC, I would usually use it on normal because I'd rather have a little bit more frames, but visibility in this game isn't that good. It's a lot easier to see the enemies with it on high. Texture filter, anastrophic low. Depth of field off, game changer when you have it on off. Detail quality level, if we look over here, if you have less detail, you actually see less of the plant. So if someone's behind there, I know it seems pretty niche, but if someone's behind there, it's going to be a little bit easier to see them rather than, you know, you have more detail. And then particle resolution, very low. Bullet impacts on, you will have more FPS if you have it on off, but sometimes I like to test recoil patterns when I'm making class videos and things like that, and it's just kind of cool to see the shots on the wall. Persistent effects off, shader quality high. If you look over here, you actually can see a little bit more of the map when the shader quality is on high rather than low, so overall it increases visibility. On-demand texture streaming on off. Local texture streaming quality low. Shadow quality very low. Screen space shadows, if you want your camos to look good, make sure that's on high. If you don't care about that, keep it on low. Ambient occlusion off. Screen space reflections, if you want the camos to look good, have it on high. If not, have it on low. Static reflection quality low. Tessellation off. Volumetric quality low. Deferred physics quality off. Weather grid volumes off. Water quality off. This is all to make your game run better, so then you have more FPS. Now over to the view. Field of view, a lot of Warzone players or keyboard and mouse players will have it on a higher FOV. Even in multiplayer, I'll see people with 120. You don't really need that on multiplayer because the map is so much smaller to where you don't really need to see that much, and the lower the FOV, the bigger the enemies are. So if you have 120 FOV, which is pretty big, the maxed out one, everything's going to be a lot smaller. If you guys look at this target, that box right here in 60 FOV is going to be a lot bigger, but on 120 it's a lot tinier, so it's actually harder to hit your shots. So yes, you can see more, but it's harder to hit your shots, which is why in multiplayer, especially in ranked play multiplayer, you'll see other pros with like max 100 FOV. Maybe some people have 103. The reason I have it on 109 is so when I'm playing Warzone, it's a little bit easier to see more of the map, and when I'm making videos, it just seems like the watch time is better because it looks like I'm moving around faster, and so that's like my happy middle ground. If I was just trying to become the best player, I'd have it on like 103 probably. ADS field of view affected. Weapon field of view wide. Third person field of view 90. Vehicle field of view wide. World motion blur and weapon motion blur off. By default, these should be on off because people think that I got like aimbot and things like that just because they see me beaming people, my screen looks more clear. I guarantee those people have motion blur on. It makes the game so much more difficult, especially when you have the depth of field on. Way more difficult to play when you have like these things on that add realism, but like no, when I'm looking around, there's no motion blur, even though there is, but there's not. First person camera movement, yeah, just lease third person ADS. Game perspective, inverted flashbang, I have it on. At first it might seem like your monitor turns off whenever you get flash because it makes the screen black instead of white, but you know, for me, it's very helpful in my eyes. Audio mix, I have it on headphones. I do see some people with the home theater with headphone bass boost. I like the headphones. You kind of have to go into a private match and see you and like have someone walk around you. That's how you can find it the best based off your headphones and your amp and things like that. Speakers / headphones, game sound device default. Oh yeah, this stuff doesn't really. Oh, stereos, what I really like, and I see a lot of other good players using. Master game volume on 80. You guys can copy the rest of the stuff on here. I have the music off because you don't really need to hear music in the game. I just want to hear footsteps. That's all I need to hear. Everything else does not really matter. Even when someone fires a gun, because then they're going to be on the minimap. Voice chat volume at 100. You want to make sure you're the loudest in the lobby if you're trash talking. The rest of the stuff on here doesn't really matter too much. The interface settings, absolutely game changer. So if you want these settings, copy these down real quick, but the next settings are going to be insanely important, like game changers. So what I'm talking about is keep this on default, default, color customization. This is going to make it so now you can change the color of different things like the objective, your teammates, your enemies, the people in your party, and then you actually can click on it and then you can max out saturation and max out the brightness so that everything's a little bit brighter. If you didn't know, the human eye picks up on yellow before any other color, like yellow and orange, and which is why you see orange and like yellow as like, you know, the signs around the road when you're driving and stuff like that. And so but it's a little bit hard to actually see the enemies at times since there's a lot of like yellow backgrounds in the game. So that's why I like to have the enemies on red, which is like the next one up. Party blue, doesn't really matter. I just went over here, max out saturation and the brightness, and then make sure you apply the custom color, and then you can go down to color filter, make sure that's on filter 2. That will give you the most vibrant colors. Color filter, target both, max out this for 100, max out that for 100. For the HUD bounds, make sure these are in as much as possible, just so when you're looking at the minimap, you don't really have to look as far over there. You can just look to right there rather than up there. Now for the minimap shape, square, obviously, because you can see a little bit more of the minimap. This is insanely important. A lot of people don't really look at the minimap minimap, but someone doesn't have a suppressor in their fire gun, they're going to show up on the minimap. It is so easy to figure out where the enemies are also because wherever you're at and wherever your teammates are at. So if your teammates are over here and right here, the enemies are probably going to spawn there. But if your teammates are here and right here, the enemies are probably spawning back there, and you'll kind of memorize those little things. And so the minimap basically tells you where the enemies are at. It makes multiplayer insanely easy to play. Minimap rotation on, horizontal compass on off, crosshair static. That's actually super important. Hit marker visuals on, damage based hit markers on. Player names abbreviated. You don't really want the full name because that's just super long unless you like that. And you want to make sure you have the name tag on there because, you know, that little circle is going to be a little bit hard to find the enemies. In-game text chat on, unless you're soft. Vehicle HUD prompts fade after 10 seconds. The rest of the stuff on here doesn't really matter. If you're curious about my telemetry, I have it on the custom. I just show my FPS counter, server latency, and packet loss, which honestly kind of gets in my head because I have horrible ping all the time. And I believe that basically wraps up all the settings. So this video was helpful. Make sure you hit the like button. And if you want to see more of my content, hit the subscribe button, and deuces.